Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to make these LED lights for your bike. I've already completed the whole installation, so I'm just going to give you a little overview. Some of the things you're going to need are some LED strips. Here we have a 4 set. You also need a set of 2s. It comes with a controller, it comes in 2 sets. Some extension cords. These will be for the front of the bike. Some heat shrink for connections, just to make sure that it's weatherproof. Some splitters from 1 to 4. You can add more. There's some that go up to 6, I believe. You also need one of these 4-port USB hubs. If you have one that goes to 2, that works too, as long as I have the switches for on and off. Some additional materials that you'll need is a power bank, a saddle bag or a bicycle storage bottle, a hair dryer or heat gun, and some zip ties just to hold it all together. So here's a little schematic of how this whole thing works. Here we have our battery source or power source. As I said, I use the battery bank or power bank. Then that connects to the USB hub. I use one that has 4 little units, just in case I ever wanted to add more. I'm currently just using 2 of them. And these come with a power button, so that'll be useful. Then I connected these power bank or the USB hub to the 2 different LED controllers. These come with remote control, so it comes with a little sensor that controls the LEDs. You'll see why you need 2 separate ones in a second. From that has like about a meter of, or about 3 feet of cord Then from those you have the splitters. You will use the splitters for both the front and the rear. From the splitters, you kind of separate the ones from the front lights and the back lights, just to know where stuff goes. So yeah, it's front, then back or rear. I only actually use the extension cords for the front ones, just because that was the only LEDs that were further from the actual power source. And then we have the right and left fork that split off in the front. They're just extensions. And for the rear we have the LED strip that goes to the seat, one that goes to the top tube, and the last 2 are the ones that go to the rear, or the rear triangle. If you notice, we have a total of 8 little LED strips that have to come out of 6 total that we buy. So the thing that I did is, for the set of 4s, I cut those into halves, since the ones in the front were going to be just the end of the connection, and use the entire strip for the top tube. This is where the links are going to be, and where you'll be using heat shrink. Just gotta remember to slide in the heat shrink before you make the connections. That way you can actually cover it after you connected it. It doesn't work the other way around. So here it is again, pressing with the remote and seeing all the lights turn on. As you can see, it has the rear triangle, the C tube, and the front. And here we have the USB hub labeled front and rear. already connected to my little power bank. Goes into the cup. Here's the two little sensors. Here I drilled some holes straight through the bottle to the back to make sure that I was able to screw it into the frame through the inside. As you can see here, the screws, let me show some light into it. The screws are inside the bottle, so it's locked in. I then cover the holes with silicone to make sure they were weatherproof. And then here goes the connection that goes to the front. Here's a 4 splitter that is connected to the 4 extensions going to the front. I sealed all of this with heat shrink tube and a little bit of electrical tape. As you can see, 2 go to the right and 2 go to the left. Just zip ties and the sticky on the side and the back holds them together. And then if we go to the back, we have the 4 splitter, one that goes into the seat tube. The other 2 go to the rear, as you can see here. And then the last one goes onto the top tube. Here's a closer look at the top tube. It's connected in series, so you go from one side, it links it around to the other side, and it just keeps on going. It's all held with the zip ties, one at each end. These are the controllers that are going to be included, one per set of LED strips. Has different modes, speeds, colors. That's pretty small. Probably the most difficult part of this whole thing is figuring out how to control and make sure that setting up the front and the rear lights. Luckily we have this USB hub with a power mode, so we can independently control the front and the rear lights. Since the models of the LED strips are the same, one controller will work for both the front and the back. What you have to do is either if you want to set up the front lights, turn off the rear and just keep the front on while it's plugged in. Then you can hit the power button and control the settings on the front lights until you get the right one that you want. In my case, I wanted the front to be white, blinking at this rate, and then when I was happy with the configuration, I turned it off. Then I made sure to turn off the front or power it off, and then turn on the rear to control the rears and program it to the setting that I wanted to. Now we can go on to programming the rears. The power on the rear is on, and right now it's in demo mode, so I just changed the mode, looking for red, and then I changed the speed, varying depending on what speed you want it. You can just change it yourself, or a different color if you want. Now that they're both programmed, I can turn the front and the rear power on, hit the power button on the remote, and both of them turn on. Once both the front and the rear are programmed to the desired color that you want, you have to play a little Tetris here and try to set up, or try to put everything back into the water bottle cage or little storage. The hardest thing is making sure that the USB cables go in, but the bottle's pretty flexible, so just bend it in and make sure that the power buttons remain on even when you push it in. Then just put in the 2 separate LED strip controllers in, making sure that there's still enough room for the power bank to go in. Slide in, tuck in all the cables, and it has enough space on top to fit the cap, as seen here. To make sure that the cap was a little secure, I made a hole through the bottle and the cap, and I put a little splitter, like a wire splitter, through it, just as something that keeps it secured. It's a little tough to get on and off, but make sure that nobody takes my power bank when I have it parked outside or whatever. And just twist it on, line up the holes. Once the holes are lined up, just take the little wire splitter through, making sure that both holes line up. If you have a better method, let me know. Sometimes it gets a little tough because the inside lining is a little flexible, so it's tough to find the right placing, but just push it through and it'll lock in. Again, here we have the final look of them on. Power off, then turn it back on. See the back, the front, you're pretty well illuminated. Let me show you how it looks in the dark. And here's how it looks in the dark. I accidentally hit a color button instead of the power button, and it messed up the whole programming of the different LED strips. So that's one thing to be careful with. If you're using the remote, make sure you're just hitting power every time. Otherwise you have to take it all out, turn it off and on individually and reprogram it. So yeah, just make sure you always hit the power button. If you like this little overview, please let me know in the comments below. I also have my wife's bike that I want to do, so if you guys want to see that one, just hit the like button, subscribe, and hopefully I get to do more videos like this in the future. Maybe I can do a step-by-step tutorial, so it'll be a little bit easier to figure it out. Thanks. I'll leave the links below for the things that I use for this project. If you stuck this long into the video, I also have some merch. Given that YouTube kind of demonetized everyone, this will help too with future projects, so thanks.